So for question 2A, we've got two production possibilities frontiers, one for Albany and one for Porter, for food and computers. And the question says, if trade occurs between Albany and Porter, which nation should export that product? Well, that's going to depend on the opportunity cost. And the opportunity cost is what we give up to get something else. So here we can see that for Albany, when we gain 20 computers, we are giving up 10 units of food. And so for Albany, the opportunity cost of food is going to be 2 computers. And that makes the opportunity cost of computers 1/2 unit of food. And now we need to look at the Porter's opportunity cost. And we can see that when we gain 16 computers, we are giving up 12 units of food. So that means for Porter, the opportunity cost for food is going to be 16 over 12, or 4/3 of computer. And the opportunity cost of computers is 3/4 of a unit of food. And we know that trade is based on the concept of comparative advantage. And you produce the good for which you have a comparative advantage, and you trade for the good that you don't. So in this case, Porter should be producing food because it has an opportunity cost of 4/3 compared to Albany's opportunity cost of food of 2. And Porter should be producing computers because its opportunity cost is 1/2 food, whereas Porter's is 3/4. So that means that Albany should be producing computers, and Porter should be producing food. For question 2B, it says, use the data in the following table to explain the economic effects of a price ceiling at $4 and at $6. Well, the first thing we need to do is to see, okay, if there's no price floor or price ceiling, what's the equilibrium going to be? And we know that's where quantity demanded equals quantity supplied, and so the equilibrium is going to be at a price of $5. Now, when you have a price ceiling is only effective if it's set below the equilibrium price. So when we have a price ceiling of 4, that means we're going to have a quantity demanded of 6,000 and a quantity supplied of 3,600. And so that means there's going to be a shortage. So when price equals 4, we have a shortage of 6,000 minus 3,600, which is 2,400. But when the price is set at $6, because that is greater than the equilibrium price, there's not going to be any effect on this market. So nobody's saying you can't charge less than $6 because the equilibrium is $5. So this is going to have no effect. For question 2C, the following tables for Jonathan's demand schedule for chocolate cake refer to the above table. If the price of chocolate cake equals $14, what is the consumer surplus Jonathan receives from purchasing chocolate cakes? Consumer surplus is the total bonus that Jonathan's going to get because he's willing to pay more for chocolate cake than he has to. Now we know from his demand schedule that ultimately he's going to buy 4 cakes because at a price of 14 he buys 4. The consumer surplus means that, okay, for the first unit of cake that he buys, he was willing to pay $26, but he only has to pay $14. So this difference is 12. And for the second unit of cake, he's willing to pay $22, but he only has to pay $14. So that difference is 8. And for the third unit of cake, he's willing to pay $18, but he only has to pay $14. So that difference is 4. And if we add up all of these bonuses, we've got 12 plus 8 plus 4, and that's 24. And we can measure that in dollars. So his consumer surplus for purchasing cake at $14 is a bonus of $24.